Our fourth day in Cuba was a fantastic one. We started the day by visiting one of the most iconic cemeteries in the country, Santa Ifigenia, the place where Jose Marti and Fidel Castro both lie to rest. That afternoon, we made our way down to the waterfront. Originally, we had planned to visit the Castillo San Pedro de la Roca, a 17th century fort along the bay, by taxi, but once we heard an option to get there by ferry, we knew we had to take advantage of this and go by boat. With our broken Spanish, we bought our tickets and boarded the boat. As we pushed off from the wharf, we enjoyed the vast amounts of seabirds, including pelicans, a bird I'm not used to seeing back home. Along the way, several people reached out with bread and tried feeding the birds. This made the birds swarm the boat. I didn't mind, however, as I found the act of them whipping back and forth very interesting, as I got to see them up close and personal. As the boat headed south towards the open ocean, we could see the Day Brother oil refinery in the background. Unlike other places around the globe, Cuba is still very much a communist country, which means even large corporations like this either belong to the government or are highly regulated by the government, who take most of the profits for themselves. The views here are stunning. Looking back towards the city of Santiago de Cuba, we had a unique perspective of the city. From here, you get a sense of the scale and how big and beautiful the mountains are. A small band of fishers were in the water in their handcrafted floaties and simple fishing line to catch fish. It's these simple acts that stand out to me. Commercialization of these trades don't exist here nearly as much. People go out and fish for themselves or for their communities. People aren't driven by greed and money, knowing that in reality, they would never keep any of it. This concept is a double-edged sword. On one end, you don't have the greed and class separation you see in other developed areas, but you also don't have the drive and push to better oneself without the reward of a greater financial stability. For those who possess this drive, they find performing a side hustle, something discouraged by the government, is the only way to pad their pockets with a few extra dollars. Pushing further into the cruise, we sailed past the Hotel Punta Gorda, a waterfront hotel that stands out from the smaller homes in the area. Our first stop along the journey was at a small island of Cayo Granma. I would imagine life is a little bit harder on these islands. Having to take supplies to and from the island would be a challenge. Despite the homes being simple, I loved the look of it. Many people look down on homes and communities like this, especially if you're from a rich country. Some people blame the communist state of the country for its lack of wealth, but the vast majority of Caribbean countries I've been to are all like this, regardless of their government statutes. For example, even Puerto Rico is like this, which is a territory of the United States. The one difference is the existence of big box stores and chains, like McDonald's, that for me ruin the feel of the Caribbean lifestyle. Pushing past the island, we could get our first glimpses of the castle in the background. We had prepared to land on the dock closest to the fort, but it never stopped. So we feel as though we may have made a grave error in judgment. We think we're supposed to be going over that island right now in order to go see the fort. So far this boat seems to be just on a tour, we're not even stopping remotely. So we may have boarded the wrong boat. But we're going to see if we can stop somewhere and get off and go to the fort. If not, I think this may be it might just be a tour, and still a decent price, about $2? $3? So $2 CUC each. And then just maybe a harbor cruise instead of a ferry that takes us to the place we wanted to go. But that's, yeah, let's see. As we passed the wharf, realizing that perhaps this wasn't the ferry ride we thought it was, all we could do was sit back and enjoy the ride. I find with travel, nothing ever goes to plan. Whether it's the weather that messes your day, or a ferry that never stops to let you off, travel teaches you to be flexible. So today's been a very interesting day. I started off rather worried. I went to go get my charger from my phone and my heart sank. I opened up my first zipper pocket where it always is and it wasn't there. So I immediately started thinking, oh my goodness, where did I leave this? We've only been to 2 cities so far, and I'm like, I swear I double checked every room. And as I'm doing my own both internal and external freakout, Connie's like, oh, let me check my bag. Turns out she had grabbed it from the wall and put it in her own stuff. So that was a very big crisis averted, because I don't know where I would buy it here. Things are so different. Buying food is not at all what I expected. It's very hard to find food. You go into a local grocery store and it's all the same items. So they have, like, for example, like 50 things of cooking oil and like 50 things of beans, ketchup, mustard, but that's it. There's no real food. You have to go to stalls where you can get bananas and some other fruit, but it's been very hard to find food. So we've actually been having to eat in restaurant style in order to actually get a meal. So behind us is what we thought was going to be a taxi to take us from here in Santiago over to Castillo de la Roca to spend the day over at the fort. We had a recommendation from our host and our Casa Particular to take the boat as a ferry over. We thought that was a fantastic idea, and it was only $2 a person, so we thought that was a really fantastic idea. Well, it turns out it was a 2-hour cruise at the Harbour, so not only did we not get there, but it just, I don't know, it just today has not gone as planned, but nothing bad has come of it, so it's just a really weird day.
Our day may have not went as planned, but as you saw, it still turned out fantastic. When it all comes down to it, it's hard for us to have a bad day while exploring the beautiful country of Cuba. Interested in learning more about our journey through Cuba? Take this time to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or to visit our website for additional written information at joshuatravelguy.ca. Are you looking for something a little more hands-on? Why not join us for an excursion through Cuba for a truly authentic experience? Learn more about these and others on our website. Why not share the love? If you enjoyed this video, do us a favor and share it with a friend, because together we can share the world.